Good afternoon, Florida, and all my friends and family in the United States and in the Czech Republic. This video basically is a bit of a training video to go along with the scheduling table which I've created and I've put on my Facebook page. The point of this basically is to help you better deal with the fact that you're going to be home for a while now with your family, with your children, and this video is really about how to better utilize that time, but also to give you a structure so you don't go crazy and, end up like in some kind of like Stephen King novel in the middle of a pandemic. I mentioned this in a previous video. The one thing that you guys really have to acknowledge now is the fact that weekends no longer exist, at least not for a few months. I mean, there's no more Monday through Friday work days, school days, and then free weekends, that kind of a thing. Basically, every single day is the same. There's no difference now between Monday and Saturday or Wednesday and Sunday. It's all the same now. And the impulse probably will be to try to just freeform this. That's not going to work. I was thinking about this, how you could do this, and so I created the table to help you schedule your days. Okay, so basically, like if you've already looked at the picture, you can see that I've actually made it quite wide to accommodate Mormon families, because I've got quite a few Mormon friends and they've got really, really big families, and there's one column for each person in your family, including mom and including dad, or including mom and dad, or dad, whatever your family makeup is. You need to do one thing for each person. Okay. I've divided the times along the lines of like how you would do it at school. So for example, it goes from 7 to 7:45. And then the second block is from 8 o'clock to 8:45. And then the third block is 9 to 9:45. So basically I've created a system where you have 45 minutes of activity and then a 15-minute break. Of course, you can combine them, and you can go from like 9 o'clock until 10:30 or something. If you need longer things, that's absolutely fine. But for like school subjects and things like that, it should be broken down, because the nobody's going to be able to kind of like work straight through. I mean, this as adults, basically, like if you're at work from 9 to 5, you're not actually kind of like, focused and concentrating for 4 hours at a time. You need to have small breaks. All right. And the other thing about this is that it'll add some kind of like structure to your lives, and it'll add some structure to your children's lives also, because, at this time, this is what you need. You need to be busy. You need to keep your hands busy. You need to keep your mind busy, so you don't dwell so much on what's happening outside of your house. You need to focus on yourselves and focus on the things that you can control, which are the things which are inside your house. So basically, what kind of things can you put on this thing? Basically, I've broken it down into a couple of different areas. Okay. For example, you can schedule, obviously if you have children and they've got e-learning things, you need to actually schedule the classes on the schedule. For example, math, English, social studies, whatever. I mean, if you want to, you can even schedule it in PE, because, if you've got a television, if you have a smart TV, if you've got a phone, there are lots of videos online, even with kids videos, about things like, calisthenics or yoga or exercise things, and, do it in the living room, do it in the kitchen, whatever. Just make sure they always have something, they have something to do. There should be time scheduled, like relaxing time, kind of like where if they have let's say they have 2 blocks in a row of school stuff, then give them a break, give them 45 minutes of, tablet time or video game time or things like that. And then you also need to schedule like playtime, and this can be either group or individual. And I recommend that you actually schedule group time together, depending on your family. That you can handle a lot or you can handle a minimum. Like my family probably, we love each other very, very much, but we would be kind of like on the lower end of that before we start stressing each other out, and you should be aware of that, because you're going to be in a very, very small space with your family. I know in Florida you have some of those McMansion things, and you can basically like lose your family for weeks at a time, but you're still going to be occupying the same kitchen, the same living room, the the same refrigerator, the same space. So basically, so playtime is going to be important. You also need to schedule things like cleaning. For example, you're going to have a lot of time. Maybe there's like some things you don't clean all the time need to be clean. Schedule these things. Like vacuuming the thing. Figure out like how long does it take to to vacuum your floors. Maybe it takes like 30 minutes. So put that on one cleaning thing and put another 15-minute one on there. Maybe dust some room or something. And this is the same thing. It goes for dad. It goes for adults and it goes for children. So everybody's schedule is there and it's visible to everybody else. You can also do things, for example, like projects. Maybe there are some things that you wanted to do in your house. You're always walking by something like, God, I really need to do that. And if you've got the materials and you have the tools, schedule that also. You can work on home improvement stuff with your kids, with your family. You can teach your kids maybe how to do some some work with basic tools. To give them some skills that they might be able to use in the future that they're probably not doing now between their free time, school, and screen time. So you can actually use this time basically as a growth opportunity for yourself and for your family. One fantastic project would be, just to make masks. You're not going to run out of masks anytime soon, because you're in this for the long haul. You're looking at, weeks, absolutely, probably months, especially looking at some of the states that have not taken any action. Eventually they're going to have to, and you're going to be on lockdown for a while. So you really need to get used to this idea. You can look at some of the previous videos to figure out, what to do. I'll repeat it yourself. Masks, gloves, hand washing, only one person going outside the house, everyone else kind of staying in, not interacting at all with the neighborhood children, not interacting at all with the neighbors physically. If you need to talk to them, you can talk to them over the fence, or you can talk to them on the telephone, or you can talk to them on the screen. But there's no reason at all to actually have any kind of physical contact with them, because you don't know where their kids have been. You don't know where they've been. You don't know if they're positive or not, or negative, because the incubation period is between 5 to 14 days. So just because someone is, hi, I feel great, blah 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 blah, that tells you nothing. You need to be smart now. This is not the time for stupidity. This is the time for intelligence. It's the time to make decisions that are sound and that are based on logic and not just based on some kind of I think it feels fine. No, that's not this. The other thing you could do with the scheduling, for example, is if anybody's an HR person or in management, sometimes you color code things. For example, on the meetings, for example, if you're doing this scheduling with your family, for example, maybe blue is work, green is cleaning, pink is fun time, yellow can be group activities, red can be solo, because you need to have solo time, from this afternoon for 2 hours, everyone gets siesta, and which is not a bad idea. Have a big lunch together, have a family lunch, and then after that, everyone goes to their corners for 2 hours to have a nap, recharge, chat, play games, whatever, these types of things. And then after your siesta, everyone's back to work until dinner time, doing their things. And then after that, evening, you decide if you want to do kind of family stuff, or if you want to do, to each their own. And even that thing you probably should, kind of do every other night. Because this is the thing. This has to be a bonding experience for you, because you're going to be in this together with your family for a while. Definitely for a while. I think that's probably it. You should do the exercise thing. I said for the kids also, but exercise should also be something that you schedule every single day. Or working outside. For example, it's Florida, so it's March 24th, so that's summer. If you have a yard, spend time in the yard. Have your kids go out there and have their work in the yard. But again, alone. No kind of like contact with the neighbors or things like that. Like I said in the previous video, basically now you and your family are in your own little spaceship, kind of lost in Earth kind of a thing. And you guys are kind of you need to maintain kind of this, this kind of family quarantine thing. But again, you don't have to suffer. Giving yourself some structure will help. you know, and also it'll give you things to look forward to on there, you know, kind of like, oh God, but like you have to schedule work for the parents also, because if you're on home office, you know, you need to give yourself some structure. I mean, it's like people who have had experience with a home office, like myself, you know, when you first do it, it's really, really difficult to find a rhythm to kind of like, you know, really kind of get disciplined. So, you know, scheduling that for yourself, it will help you also. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, like you can leave comments or questions in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to address them and get back to you. In the meantime, you know, stay safe, stay calm, stay cool, wash your hands, wear your masks, wear your gloves, and let's try to, like, you know, like I said, you know, the quicker you guys actually adopt these measures, the quicker we can go back to normal. So hopefully your leadership will, you know, create the situation where, you know, you can use this video and you can use this this scheduling methodology basically to help you. That's all I'm trying to do here. So good luck and enjoy the rest of your day.